Joe Rogan's new Netflix special, Burn the Boats, has received mixed reception over the weekend. Some people really loved it, and some people really hated it. I think you can expect exactly the type of people who went into watching it wanting to hate it, wanting to get angry and offended. And we're already seeing tons of headlines about the edgy jokes that Joe Rogan included in his set. One of them being about vaccines, some more talk about trans people, gay people, pronouns. It's all the expected stuff. I mean, it doesn't sound like it's for me.
It's not.
I don't think I would personally enjoy this. Not because I necessarily disagree with the idea of making fun of any of those things, but I don't know. I think the anti-woke humor, it needs to be relatable.
The best stuff in the whole special was when he was talking about everything else. So he did a bit on evolution that was funny. He did a bit on
talked about dinosaurs.
That was funny.
Landing.
He got into aliens and stuff like that. Like the second half of the special was infinitely better than the first half, in my opinion.
One of his quotes from the special says, "There's a lot of people that I don't F with anymore. Before COVID, I would have told you that vaccines are the most important invention in human history. After COVID, I'm like, I don't think we even went to the moon. I think Pizzagate is real. I think there's direct energy weapons in Antarctica." And he also said that Michelle Obama has
an eggplant emoji. And then he said,
under her dress.
And then he said, I believe all those. He goes, I don't believe that Michelle Obama has an eggplant emoji. The other stuff I believe.
Right.
Here's the thing. There was a really funny post from Drama Alert that just proves to you what a ridiculous timeline we live in. It says, Joe Rogan joked that Michelle Obama had a eggplant emoji in a new Netflix special, but later said he was joking. Yes, he joked that he was joking in a comedy special.
Right. It's like they're acting like he issued an apology or something.
Correct.
Another one of the lines was like something about, "Did you just assume my gender?"
That was the worst.
Spare me.
No, but here's the thing. It was in the middle of a bit about him being high at an airport. That was actually kind of fun. Like him when he's talking about personal stories are actually fine, but it was like sandwiched between, that line was sandwiched between something else that was actually okay. Again, I think that the second half of the special was way better. It's like he got through all of the other stuff, which is basically just him. You kind of said he's critiquing internet life rather than real life.
Well, I mean, a good stand-up comedian can make jokes that are relatable to everyone in the room that you didn't think were common experiences, but he's commenting on bizarro world that you encounter on Twitter and not commenting on things that are actually commonly shared universal real life experiences.
So what he's talking about in that speech is actually what's funny about it, right?
Yeah.
So when he makes the joke about "Did you just assume my gender?" He's going through TSA pre, and he's getting checked, and then he goes through the thing, and then they randomly select him to be patted down. And he's like, "Well, I have TSA pre. I thought that, absolved me of having to do such a thing." And then he talks about how he's getting groped by a dude while he's being talked to about UFC. And then about the guy touching the back of his dick with the back of his hand. He goes, "It's the worst way to find out if there's you're going to catch exactly 0 terrorists doing that." That part was actually, and he's talking about how all this happened while he's high out of his mind. And that was fine. It wasn't the funniest bit of it. To me, the stuff about Neanderthals was infinitely funnier.
Yeah.
But it was that was fine because it's a real world experience, right? All of the stuff where he's talking about trans stuff and when he's talking about gay men, the gay men stuff is better than the trans stuff. But then he gets into talking about language and words that you can say and words that you can't say. That stuff worked.
So he said the bundle of sticks word.
He said the bundle of sticks word. He said the R word. He did not say the N word, but that was the point of the joke.
It's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not, the target audience for this type of thing. But at the same time, the predictably weird and annoying people who get angry at him want to defend him.
Just calling what he did mocking proves to you that they don't actually want to engage with this honestly.
like they're being
It's not mocking,
mean-spirited
it's a
because,
comedy special.
like, he didn't, at least I haven't seen any proof that he mocked anyone or denigrated anyone. But here are some angry tweets from people who are deranged Joe Rogan haters. One said, Rogan is a testament to the dangers of going down the red pill rabbit hole. Avoid at all costs. It rots your brain. Another one said,
it was honestly, it's very sad that that's their perspective, because it was so safe. And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, maybe I'm just misjudging it, but the audience didn't laugh.
It.
The audience didn't get as big a laughs out of the traditionally anti-woke.
Because it's all been done.
Yes.
That's the thing. It's all been done already by Dave Chappelle, by Ricky Gervais.
When he makes a joke about how a human being somewhere along the line probably was still having sex with monkeys, that got laughs.
And before Dave Chappelle and Ricky Gervais did it, YouTubers were doing it.
Yes.
YouTubers told those jokes, and then comedians told those jokes, and then other comedians told the same jokes. And that's why it's a little bit tiresome to me at this point, I'll admit. Another one said, Joe Rogan's sad. My attitude about gay men is the same as how I feel about mountain lions. I'm glad they exist, but I don't want to be surrounded by them. Why is it always straight guys who look like this who think every gay man wants to F them? Like, bitch, look at you. They also pointed out the sweat stains that were on his yellow shirt.
The sweat stain on the shirt was distracting. I thought it was a pattern at first.
Yeah. Another one said, you can agree with Joe Rogan's views, but saying his stand-up is good or funny crosses a red line for me.
Look, he also talked a lot about COVID and vaccines and stuff like that. And he took himself to task. He made fun of himself a bit. He's very good at poking fun at himself, which works in this context.
In response to that vaccine line, actually, this person said, Joe Rogan is what happens when midlife crisis meets short man syndrome on an IQ of 90, hopped up on steroids, ivermectin, and low T supplement cocktail. That was creative.
That just screams anger. Like nothing. Here's the thing: when Joe Rogan is delivering his jokes, it comes off as jokes and it comes off as good natured, which is the point, right? All the reactions you're seeing are the opposite of that. They're very much. It's the same way when I talk about people saying this downfall should be studied. It's mean spirited.
All of these people didn't want to laugh in the first place.
Exactly.
So they're not the target audience. It's fine. Just go about your day being bitter and angry. And everybody who wants to laugh at the jokes will be over here being normal. Another one made this about men in general. She said, if I was dating in 2024, this is the first question I would ask a man. Do you listen to Joe Rogan's podcast? You've got to eliminate the losers early, ladies. That's been a huge talking point, is like, you can't date a man who listens to JRE because he's a red flag. It's like one of the biggest podcasts in the world, right?
It's not even just women. It's like your lefty friends will use that as a way to filter you out at some point.
But isn't it the biggest podcast?
I think it got surpassed recently.
By what?
Tucker Carlson or something?
Is it?
It's probably still Joe Rogan. It probably fluctuates and goes back up.
He's still so like normie friendly.
And here's the thing. Like a lot of the times, look, you go to when I listen to Joe Rogan, I love to hear him go off on rants about aliens. I do. Yeah. But it's his ability to engage with people that are really, really smart. That's fun. He actually does a whole bit on this about how when he's talking to Elon, again, somebody pointed out that this special was supposed to come out a couple of years ago, which might explain my like weird like memory lapse. Like I kept hearing jokes in this that I could have swore I heard before. That I've heard him say before.
Because it just sounds like stuff that, someone has absorbed from the internet, or from Twitter, from years of doom scrolling, and then repackaged as their own.
So, on top of that, like him talking about, like when he talks to Elon Musk, and he's like, I make it through like 10 minutes of the conversation. I zone out because he's so much freaking smarter than me that my brain just starts going to crazy places. And he tells this story about how his brain tells this story in his head about 4 people on a spaceship, and one of them pulls out a gun and shoots the other one. And he's talking about how like when he listens to Elon Musk, he eventually tunes out because he can't keep up with him, right? You listen to Joe Rogan because he does a good job on the show of engaging with extremely smart people and pulling fun conversations out of people who you might not normally get a conversation like that out of.
Yeah.
It gives Jordan Peterson or James Lindsay or somebody who tends to be more clinical the freedom to go and talk about something that isn't necessarily so dry. Like one of the reasons I like James Lindsay's show, like his like New Discourses, is because a lot of it is dry and clinical, or at least it used to be, which is a lot more engaging to me when you have to talk about culture war stuff, because otherwise then it becomes about the outrage and not about the actual stuff that you're trying. Like if you have to learn about Hegelian dialectics, right? Like I don't need to know the modern progressive outrage version of it. I'd rather hear the actual information. But if you're talking to Joe Rogan, it can go in any different direction, and he's very good at getting people talking.
Yeah.
It's not about his opinions. It's about the opinions of the people that are on the show with him.
He makes people feel comfortable. Yeah. Which is an amazing quality to have no matter what you do for a living. But that's essential to make people laugh.
And good interviewers are, like, there's a reason why we were talking earlier about the dude from
Hot Ones. Yeah.
Like, a good interviewer.
Another bald icon.
Like, that's a dude who I would like to be able to ask him, like, what is your prep process like?
We would do a show called Cold Ones where we interview the guy from Hot Ones.
And make him drink ices until he gets a brain freeze and then ask him questions.
Right. Or we like crack open a cold one,
But the point being that, a good interviewer, that's a skill set. It is. Like when he talked to, who is it? Taylor Sheridan, right? They went in all sorts of different directions, but he was able to pull it back to what Taylor Sheridan does for a living, which is making movies. Like the whole podcast started out talking about how Rotten Tomatoes always dunks on his stuff, and he never gets a fair shake from the critics. It ends up talking about Comanche Indians and communism and all of this other stuff that how you even get there in a 3-hour podcast is impressive.
Yeah.
So it's a skill set. So you don't watch Joe Rogan because of him necessarily. You engage with the people that he's talking about.
Yeah, most people don't know what Joe Rogan thinks about any particular social issue.
Unless it's aliens or DMT.
Right, unless it's those things. But he's not actually, in and of himself a controversial person. I guess it's just that he talks to too many controversial people. And that turns off a lot of NPCs who it wasn't intended for anyway.
Yep. And he is in general kind of a weird dude, and he loves to, he loves that. He loves
Which you're
talking
allowed
about
to
that
be.
stuff. And what I think is funny is like when it comes from a weird dude and you hear him talking about generally observable facts, meaning like the stuff that's going on with people in the wrong dressing room and stuff like that, things that are happening, and all he's doing is pointing out that it's happening. It's kind of a barometer as to where society is. And maybe they just don't like what they see reflected back at them, and it kind of puts them off that it's being shown to them by a dude who's so out there.
Yeah, we're going to call it Roganite normality. You've heard of Swiftian normality, but this is Roganite normality. He kind of is a barometer. He is a good way of measuring like where the normie sensibility is at. Again,
these jokes that they're criticizing here make up just a portion of an hour long special. So
still wait for him to interview Gerard Way.
There you go.
His beloved cousin.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.